Okay, what's up, guys? Okay, what's up? It's your boy Pleb Nation. Now, as you know, I do weekly reviews for Sword Art Online Alicization. Now, Alicization episode 15 just came out. I just got done watching the episode. It was titled Instigation. Now, if you don't know what instigation means, it's a pretty simple term, meaning you to instigate or start something, to sort of, let's say, you get into an argument and the other person instigated that argument, basically started it, That's basically what this title is, instigation. That's the name of the episode. So yeah, like this, episode 15 takes place after the ending of episode 14, where Bercoli, defeated Gabriel Miller, and yeah, so at the start of the episode, now I gotta say with this, the last two episodes, it was episode 12, 13, and 14. It only took 3 episodes to finally get a good episode. Yeah, like, we had to wait 3 episodes to finally at least get somewhat of a good episode. So, I'm not going to be very harsh with episode 15 because finally we get a good episode, but personally, it should not have taken 3 bloody episodes just to be able to get a good, episode. Now, at the beginning of episode 15, we see Sinnoh and we see Alice, right? Alice is very broken, because Bercoli to Alice was like a father figure, and she really looked up to him as a father figure, and she basically just saw him get killed. He sacrificed himself for her, and like Sinnoh was like, I'm sorry I was too late, and basically Sinnoh, I'm probably butchering her name. She tells Alice to go to the world and alter to press the console panel, right? And Alice is like, why? Why do I gotta go there, And this is where Sinnoh tells her that Vecta is actually a real person. Like, he's a real person from the outside world that went into the game, And she was telling Alice, like, there's a chance that he could come back in a different form, And Alice starts to cry, and she was like, what was the point of, Bercoli sacrificing himself, why did he have to sacrifice himself and have to die if only, for Gabriel to come back? And she said, Alice was like, it's all a farce, it's all a joke, a one-on-one battle, to fight to the death, to fight and die, but it's all a farce. And you can tell Alice is very broken, because, like I said, she looked up to Bercoli as a father figure, and Bercoli, before he sacrificed himself, he was like, I never could give you what you wanted, because, each integrity night was like, they had their memories and they're like erased, their past. They didn't know who their family was. They didn't know who their mother, father was. They because what Quinella did to make them into the perfect integrity knight was she wiped their memories completely so they would be obedient. So we got that. Now, one thing I do want to talk about is we see Champion. Now, if you don't know, Champion is a pugilist. I'm probably butchering that, okay? But Champion is a pugilist, And we see because each Integrity Knight has a backstory, has a like somewhat of a backstory in history. If you read the light novels, you know, I have all the light novels, so yeah. So, like I said, Alicization has cut out a lot of stuff, but if you don't know Sketa, she is the Synthesis 12. She's the 12th Integrity Knight. Now, if you don't know, in the light novel, she, you know, when she, or if you watch Alicization or, you know, read the light novels, then you would know that when she first fought Champion, you know, she had that sort of like, she had feelings for him, you know, like this, like, because if you, like at the beginning, I think it was at the beginning of episode 15, she was like, basically, she said, why am I, like, what was the reason for me wanting to slash everything? Because if you don't know, like, she has this mindset being like, she wants to slash everything, you know? And we hear the voice of Quinella. Like, I do like the fact that, you know, like, we see, like, even though Quinella is dead, she still lives in the hearts of the Integrity Knight. Because she created them. So, we hear the voice in Quinella, and she was like, she said, you are cursed to slash everything. You don't understand, like, basically it was like, you're cursed to slash everything, and you're trying to find out why. You're trying to break that curse and find your reason to not slash. And we see that moment where, like, after she defeated, like, the Red Knight, like, she went up to Champion and held his face, and she was like, I finally, you know, Champion was like, I'm sorry you broke your sword. And she said, no, it's fine. I finally found my reason to not slash now. You are that reason. You are the reason, you know, like, I have a reason to protect something now. So it's that, like, they both have romantic feelings for each other. If you didn't know, it's like, even in the first fight they had, there was that sort of like feelings for each other. They didn't want to kill each other. So we saw that. So, like, after, you know, like, after that moment, and then after the moment with Alice and Sinnoh, Sinnoh was like to Alice, I'll stay here because this is where Gabriel, or, you know, this is where he will probably reappear again. Now, basically, like, here's the thing. This is where hopefully in the next episode they don't screw up, because here's the thing. Episode 15 is the beginning of volume 18 of the light novel. Volume 18 of the light novel, basically episode 15, you know, starts, like, you know, covers the beginning of volume 18 of the light novel. Now, if you don't know Vasago Casillas, Vasago, like I said, is a very important character to the story. He is the reason that Kirito is in the underworld in the first place. Now, Vasago, like I said, like, if you watch my other Sword Art Online videos, you know I have, like, given you the backstory of his character. He is the leader of POH, you know, the Killing Guild. He has been he's been a very important character. Now, basically what he does, the reason the episode is titled Instigation is because he basically instigates the, you know, more, you know, like, he is sowing hatred between the Korean and Chinese, basically he is sowing that hatred, you know, like, for the Japanese players. He's telling the Korean and Chinese players that the Japanese players have hacked the server, and they are killing the test administrators, and they are killing the people who were, you know, volunteering to test, and all of that. So he's basically sowing, you know, hatred and, you know, discontent between both sides. Now, if you don't know, this is actually a real, like even in real life, this is actually, when it comes to sort of like gaming, like Japan favors, the Japanese people favor their people over other, if let's say Japan came out with a game, right, and it was available to Japanese people, right, they would get the game first, right? But then, later on, they would give the game out to the rest of the world, like globally. And Japan has always favored the Japanese, and the Japanese have always has always getting more special treatment when it comes to, when Japan makes their games and stuff. So it's sort of like, that's what he's using. Vasago is using that. He's saying, he's basically, like sowing discontent, and we see him give a speech, right? Because, like Klein knows who Vasago is. You could see that Klein was shaken, and you can see that Asuna was also they were scared, because he is, Vasago is the leader of POH, so they were literally shaking in their boots, he's not someone you should take lightly. And so when we see the Japanese people, we see one Chinese person and a Korean person, and like they were sort of like skeptical. We see, if you don't know, one of the Korean players' name was Ming. I'm probably butchering the name. And then her other friend, who was a Chinese player, or no, he was a Korean player, and she was a Chinese player. And then when they got into the underworld, like they were skeptical. They were like, okay, if he's an administrator, can't he just shut down the power? So we see Vasago give this speech about justice and all of that, and like he sort of gets the Korean players and the Chinese players riled up, and they start attacking, right? So in that moment, you see like Vasago, he looks at Asuna and Klein, and he starts to laugh, and it was that sort of like evil laugh. It was like that laugh that would just make you shiver, because this guy is heartless and cruel. Like I said in my last 2 videos, when I did a review for the last 3 videos for Alicization, I talked about his character. I talked about Vasago's character and where he comes from and why he is the way he is. Why he is so heartless and cruel. Like his backstory, and his past is what made him sort of the person he is, And yeah, so we get to sort of towards the end of the episode, right? And Sino is basically waiting at the spot, right? She's waiting for Gabriel to reappear. And when Gabriel reappears, he basically is coming out of the ground. It is very like this ominous feeling, like this feeling of dread, like you are fucked, like like no matter what you do, you are screwed, like that's what the feeling was like. And while I have my gripes with A1 Studios, at least they did this right. So Gabriel comes from the ground, and it's like death is around him. Like you can feel death around him. Like that's the feeling I felt watching this scene. And Sino, like her eyes widen because Sino knows who he is. She recognized his face because he was in Bullet to Bullet or Gun Gale. If you watch Gun Gale Alternative, they mentioned him in Gun Gale Alternative. He was also in Gun Gale, so she knows him, and she is feeling dread, right? basically what Gabriel does is he holds out his hands, and all of a sudden Sinnoh can't move, like something, you know, like she is like attacked by some invisible force, like Gabriel did something, and she was like, it's a sublizer. I probably butchered that word, sublizer. Yeah, but basically, episode 16, we will, I hope, we should get, I hope they don't brush over Visago's, you know, backstory. In episode 16, we should start to get the fight between Sinnoh and Gabriel, which is going to be interesting. So, now at the end of the episode, now if you don't know, Higa and this one guy, right, they're going down to where they are basically climbing down, right, to where, like, basically Higa needs to go down the shaft, or like wherever it is, right? So he's going down there with one of the assistants, right? And when he gets down there, right, like, you know, he's doing his repairs, the assistant pulls out a gun on him, right? Now, I don't know this assistant's name. I don't know his name. Yeah. But he pulls out a gun on Higa, and Higa looks at him with shock and is surprised, right? This assistant, I believe, is a traitor. I think he's a traitor. I would have to go through the light novel, but he pulled out a gun on Higa, meaning that, you know, he has to be a traitor. My memory is a little bit, because, like, Volume 15 gets into Volume 18, you know, like, it covers volume. It starts to, like, basically, like, after episode 15, 16, like, towards the rest of the episodes are going to cover Volume 18 of the light novel for Alicization. So, that's basically the episode. Now, you guys are probably wondering, if I had to give this episode a rating, I will give it a 8 out of 10. So, this is your boy Pleb Nation. Let me know what you think of episode 15 for Alicization. Did you like it? I personally believe episode 15 was way better than the last 3 episodes. It only took 3 episodes to get a good episode. So, I'm out. Peace out. Have a good day. And if you like anime, manga, Sword Art Online, hit that like button.